Happy New Year, Capricorn! This is your January 2015 horoscope with me, Lada from astrolada.com, for everyone who has their ascendant, sun, and even moon in Capricorn. How does the year start for you, Capricorns? With a bang! This is the month of Capricorn. This is when Capricorns are renewed, revitalized. The sun is in your sign, especially if your sun is naturally, if you're born in January or the end of December. This is when new beginnings come into your life. This is when, especially when the new moon happens, which is around the 10th, 9th of January. This is when new ideas are implanted for the next 12 months for you. And this is when you can make the whole of January overall is like that. God sends you inspiration, ideas, sends you resolution and vitality to come out and to take on those actions that you will be implementing, to start working on them for the next 12 months. And often, whenever I have my birthday, this is the time when I feel renewed energy. Usually, most Capricorn sun people, to a lesser degree, Capricorn ascendant people as well, the month before their birthday, they feel a little bit more emotional. They feel like this is a time of more private matters. And when the sun comes into your sign, this is when you are renewed. This is when you can start new beginnings, Capricorn. This is when, new initiatives are taken. So you have the green light in that. You're coming out of your shell. You're coming out and you're becoming more productive as well. You're becoming more vitalized, enthusiastic, energetic. The sun is this bright planet that lights up your sign. And Mercury will also be in your sign, Capricorn. Mercury will be going retrograde in Capricorn, interestingly enough. And especially those Capricorns that are born in the last 15 degrees, ascendant, sun, or moon, doesn't matter. If you have sun, moon, or ascendant at the last 15 degrees, which would mean that if your sun is there, that you were born from around the 5th to around the 20th of January, those last 15 days, or your ascendant or moon from 15 to 30 degrees, Mercury will be retrograde the whole of January over those degrees. What does it mean? Well, that Mercury becomes such an important planet in your life in January. And Mercury is the planet of organizing, management, sorting out things. And there will be more on a practical level because it's happening in Capricorn. And Capricorn is this structure, organized sign. So a lot of you will be asked to perform a lot of mercurial tasks and a lot of mercurial duties like writing, speaking, organizing, managing, sorting out things. I remember the last time I had Mercury retrograde in my first house, in my ascendant, which was, about a year ago. And it happens rarely. It's not going to repeat for a few years after that. I remember that when this happened, I was bringing out a new course. And for the whole month, I had to edit it, put it together, the videos that I've shot before. I had to, organize them, manage them better. And at the end of the process, I had a beautiful project. But it requires extra effort of Mercury energy, extra mental effort, extra attention to detail, revising, redoing things a few times. Some projects that you started might have to come back again to you to be looked at and to be worked on again, to be paid attention to the detail. And you might have some important negotiations and communications with someone, for example. Or you might have some important that you have to put more energy, definitely, into them. Or Mercury rules skills. So you might be required in January, in big part of, even it might start from December for some of you, but January for sure, and maybe part of February, you might be required to use your skills to the best of your advantage, the skills that you've gathered over the years. I don't know if you're a marketer, if you're an advertiser, if you're in media, if you're in speaking, writing, teaching, all those Mercury skills, you'll be working on something that requires a lot of that input there. And actually you can shine a lot. And they say when Mercury is retrograde, don't do anything. Mercury, don't travel, don't, especially because it's in your sign retrograde. They say don't travel, don't write, don't speak to people, go bury yourself, don't answer your phone. Just the opposite. Actually, the flood of information increases, the need for attention to detail increases. And if there are any kind of mistakes that you've done with managing, with organizing in your communications with others, verbal, spoken, they come to the surface. And so you can make a plan B, plan C, and correct those. So it's corrective time. You're able to look at those tasks, administrative, mental, communicative, from a different perspective, managerial as well. And to make a plan which is way more efficient, way more productive, and by the end of the process in mid-February, you'd have worked on something and you'd have completed it, you'd have put a lot more energy into it, but it would bring you, it can bring you some kind of recognition, personal recognition as well, because it's happening in your sign. And you'd feel very satisfied with the results by mid-February, but the push is in January now. And it's often to do with something that you've been working already on, that you have to redo, to perfect, to make better. Or skills that you have to dust out and revise them and bring them again to perform with them to the best of your ability. So maybe some important presentations can happen, some important work on documents, on papers around that period. Often people that are involved in business and administrative tasks of any sort, management, organizing, these are the busiest time for them. They work on some very important project. And it doesn't go without hitches, but you should always be prepared for plan B and C, and believe me, those B and C plans always work out better than the initial plan. Okay, so what else is happening? Jupiter and Rahu are in your 9th house, supporting this whole process, because they're sending this trine, beautiful aspect to the Mercury, to the Sun in Capricorn, and almost like they guarantee you that things will, even if there are problems, they'll be sorted out. You'll be able to see them, to correct them, to come up with better ideas. And Jupiter is going retrograde in your 9th house, which means that some new opportunities that came to you over the last few months, you'll be able to implement them for a longer term, over the next 4 or 5 months till May, while Jupiter is moving backwards. And, for example, there might be especially plans connected to pre-qualification, higher education. Maybe you've been thinking for a while, I have to take this course, or I have to expand my horizons and learn this new thing, because 9th house is about learning, expanding horizons, maybe traveling as well. If you've been having such plans, actually, when Jupiter starts moving backwards, you can work on them. You can make them happen. And they'll have long-lasting effects. So it's ideal time for pre-qualifications, for examinations, for higher education of any sort, starting in January. But these are things that you've already thought about, that you've already started, that will need perfecting again, and more long-lasting implementation. And 9th house is also about foreigners, foreign countries, foreign travel. So maybe some exchanges or some opportunities that come to you from such places, but such that you've already had contact with, or you've thought about. This can come back to you as opportunities, so you can have the chance to, create such relationships with foreign people with different background or social class, people that are somehow different, a bit more foreign to you. They don't have to be like from a different country, but they can be from a different social background and class, like mentors and teachers as well. It can be a good time that you get through some mentorship program as well, and you work very hard on it when Jupiter is moving retrograde in your 9th house. Okay, so very supportive though, because all these are earth signs. Jupiter is an earth sign, Mercury, the Sun, the North Node, they're all in earth signs for you, Capricorn. So they're supporting whatever plans you're having, whatever goals you're getting ahead, to, for them to get the energy and the inspiration, and you can get some clarity in regards to something as well. because these are the inspirational houses where God talks to us, especially the ninth house is the house where we receive, when God gives us support, either through other people like teachers, advisors, mentors, benefactors of sorts that come to us and help us see the situation clearer and help us to prioritize better. Okay, so what else? Venus is in your 12th house, Capricorn, which is a hidden private house. So for a big part of January, a source of pleasure, which is Venus, will be from more private things. Maybe watching TV, escaping reality in some way. If you have any addictive inclinations, they might increase at the same time, but you consider those as pleasure. Maybe secretive relationships behind the scene can happen. If you have anything like that, this can escalate and increase but become a source of pleasure. It's usually good for the romantic, sensual life of a person because one becomes more romantic, more dreamy. One becomes... 12th house in ancient astrology is known as bad pleasures, and when Venus is there, they say that the bad pleasures of a person are somehow improved. And I think that mostly the spiritual side, sorry, not the spiritual, but the imagination is increased, and yes, the imagination and the connection with the invisible world is increased. So people, especially that are in creative fields, might benefit from Venus in the 12th house because they capture creative ideas from the invisible realms in a way. Okay, and you can have some hidden support from someone that you're not aware of, possibly a woman, but someone behind the scenes that you don't become aware of until Venus comes into your first house, possibly in February. Someone who's given you a shoulder, said a good word about you. So this is what I see for you, Capricorn. Some Capricorns will very much benefit by Jupiter because Jupiter is almost stationary there. So it becomes 5 times stronger, they say, especially those Capricorn that have their ascendant the moon from around 21 to around 24 degrees in Capricorn. And basically, if they are born from around the 12th, 13th of January till around the 14th, so basically born 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th of January approximately, maybe a day plus or more, Jupiter becomes stationary, very strong, and sends its trine aspect to your sun, moon, or ascendant, so doors opening to you in regards to personal life, if it's the moon, property, family, emotional connections and relationships. If it's the ascendant, it's relationships and your overall path in life, feeling more inspired, more positive, more optimistic, and because of that you attract better events. If it's your sun, with career, very likely with authority or male figures in your life, with more inspiration, that things starts moving positively there. So this is what I see for you, Capricorn. Thank you very much. Happy New Year again. Subscribe to my channel and I will see you next month.